We're back at it again with another Battlefront update. I think it's pretty safe to say we've all been waiting for this video to be made, especially if all the crashes and problems Battlefront players had to go through lately on consoles. So today we're going to go over what DICE's hotfix patch will exactly be fixing, and more importantly, when it's coming out. Spoiler alert, sooner than you think. Along with that, we're also going to go over some rumors regarding Battlefront 2 coming to Steam, and one of DICE's new secret projects potentially being Battlefront 3. And before we get into any of that, but a quick reminder, as if you do like these type of videos, then do remember to give it a like and show your support for not only this update series, but also the content within it. Starting with the top news story we've all been waiting to hear, DICE have announced today that the hotfix patch for Battlefront 2 is going to be released on Wednesday. We previously knew that DICE were working hard to get us a fix sometime this week, especially responding to all the constant crashes that many console players were experiencing. And seeing how we're now getting it on Wednesday rather than later shows that they likely sent a patch to Sony and Microsoft for certification as early as Monday. The hotfix itself will also fix a number of things rather than just the crashing, as DICE did release the patch notes today and there are quite a bit of co-op tweaks being made. The notes are as follows: fixed various issues that were causing memory crashes across all platforms, fixed an issue that was causing a server crash when playing co-op, fixed an issue where the timer would not correctly show the overtime message when an enemy is contesting a command post on co-op, fixed an issue where the co-op game would end prematurely if the enemy AI is capturing a point within the last 7 seconds of a game, fixed an issue, well that's a typo, with co-op matches ending with inaccurate defeat screens, fixed an issue where AI would not play the objective on Kashyyyk instant action, and finally fixed functionality of out-of-bound areas on Ewok Hunt. So a lot of good tweaks being made here, but I am curious why DICE would only fix the instant action AI on Kashyyyk and ignore the rest of the planets. Last I checked, the AI in instant action is pretty lousy in playing the objective on all the planets, not just Kashyyyk. So kind of a strange decision by DICE on that one. Also, I would have appreciated if they could have included the spawn timer being decreased. Because of the October update, it did increase for whatever reason, and it's especially bad in co-op from what I've heard, making people wait 12 to 15 seconds just to spawn back. I don't play co-op, but I do feel for the people who have to go through those long spawn wait times. As for all the crashing, it turns out the game was running out of memory because of a leak in the backend. For whatever reason, this leak was more prevalent on the consoles than PCs, hence why PC players didn't experience as much crashing. Although to be fair, I did play on the PS4 version recently just to complete the Luke Yavin ceremony skin quest, and I didn't experience any crashes when playing 3 or 4 Ewok Hunt games. So fortunately, it looks like that mode was spared and allowed everyone to still be able to complete the quest, without having to worry about the game crashing on them as seen with the bigger modes. Another thing that the October update messed up with was reverting Hero Showdown back to its original 2v2 setting, which apparently DICE had no idea that was going to happen. When asked if the hotfix would make the mode return back to 1v1 dueling, Ben replied, "We're going to make this change back to 1v1 for it to start. Just waiting confirmation, it has been done." For some reason, the update last week reverted it. Now, unfortunately, it looks like Ben never did get that confirmation, as from what we've seen, there is no mention about bringing 1v1 dueling back to Hero Showdown again. So that is disappointing to see. I imagine DICE were just rushing to get this fix out as soon as possible and may have missed this. Then again, on the other hand, the initial change to 1v1 Hero Showdown was never included in the September update's patch notes either. So maybe they're going to keep this on the down low again too, who knows. Also, with many taking note of Battlefield 5 getting a complete cover redo recently, it has started in people asking if the same will be happening for Battlefront 2. Much like Battlefront 2, Battlefield 5 also had a rough launch, but since then DICE have been making some significant improvements to it, especially with the latest War in the Pacific DLC. As such, DICE updated the game's cover art, icon, and even the menu to reflect the recent positive changes made to the game, and that now has Battlefront fans wondering if DICE will be doing the same here too. As we can all agree that Battlefront 2 today is day and night when compared to the bare bones version released back in 2017. When asked about it, one of the community leads, Kevin Johnson, responded by saying, "The Battlefront 2 team, share your thoughts on this, more to come at a later date." And along with this, when someone asked Ben Walk if DICE were thinking about making a new cover art for Battlefront 2, Ben responded with a yup and a smiley face. So yeah, this 99% confirms that we'll be seeing some kind of new cover art coming for Battlefront 2. Considering all the Clone Wars content we got both this and last year, I'd expect to be seeing a ton of Clone Wars influence happening on the new cover art. But then again, we're also going to be getting new Rise of Skywalker DLC this December too. So if anything, that new cover art may come out then, just to show off the sequel trilogy content that has been made for the game. But what would you want to see on the new Battlefront 2 cover art anyway? Have majority of it being prequel or sequel trilogy content? Or a nice combination of both? Let me know down in the comment section. Now moving on to other Battlefront/EA related news, EA today revealed that their games are officially coming back to Steam, and it all starts with Jedi Fallen Order on November 15. And then after that with more games coming next year along with EA Access. For me, this is just great news as I literally can't stand the EA Origin launcher. For those of you that do follow me on Twitter, you'll know how many times I complained about EA Origin, especially whenever I would want to go play Battlefront only to find out Origin uninstalled itself. Then I'd install it again, only for a few days later the exact same thing would happen all over again. Granted, Origin has stopped acting up on me recently, but still, Steam is a far better platform all around, and I'm glad to hear I'll be able to now play EA's latest Star Wars titles on it. Now regarding Battlefront, it's also a strong possibility that it will be coming to Steam as well. As when Ben Walk was asked about it, he didn't give a flat no, but the standard "we'll see what the future holds" response. Given that EA's other big multiplayer titles like FIFA 20, Apex Legends, and DICE's very own Battlefield 5 are coming to Steam next year, then I'd say Battlefront 2's chances are looking pretty good. According to EA, players on both Origin and Steam will have the ability to play together, which is great and all, but I am concerned about the data transfer because if Battlefront 2 does come to Steam, then I'd hate to start everything all over again. So we'll have to see what becomes of that. If DICE's Battlefield 5 will offer data transfers to the Steam version, then I can't see why they wouldn't offer it for Battlefront 2 as well. Continuing with the EA and DICE news, but today was the EA earnings call and we got some interesting tidbits of news from there too. First and foremost, we've learned that both Battlefront 1 and 2 sold a combined total of 33 million copies, which beats out DICE's flagship Battlefield series out of the water. Because Battlefield 1 sold 15 million copies, while a report earlier this year reveals that Battlefield 5 had only managed to sell 7.3 million copies, failing to meet both EA and DICE's expectations. Granted, Battlefront 2 didn't wow everyone at launch either and would have sold way more if not for the loot crate scandal, but even with that, it isn't looking too bad sales-wise. Next up, thanks to the earnings call, we also learned that DICE is working on multiple new projects, with one of them being confirmed to be a brand new Battlefield title. That new Battlefield game is likely to be coming out for fall of 2021. As for the other project they're working on, well, I'd be surprised if it wasn't a Battlefront 3. We've heard before that DICE have started working on the blueprints for a Battlefront 3, as such things are the norm for game studios, but no actual coding or real work had been done on it thus far. However, because we learned at the earnings call that there won't be any new Star Wars games until fiscal year 2022, which is basically April 2021 to March 2022, then according to Bespin Bulletin, we won't be seeing a Battlefront 3 release until likely fall 2022 at the earliest. And this makes plenty of sense. I've said it several times in previous videos that once we do see a Battlefront 3, it won't be until around 2021 or 2022 and on the next-gen consoles. Of course, given this new information, I was wrong about 2021, but still on the money as 2022 is concerned. Especially seeing as DICE always release a new Battlefront game the year after Battlefield. Then I can definitely see this trend continuing. Not to mention that because EA's Star Wars license ends in 2023, then it makes all too much sense that they would want to cash in on a new Battlefront game for the next-gen console market, before of course seeing their license end. With that said, we also know that EA Vancouver and Motive are working on a brand new Star Wars IP, which is supposed to be based off the remains of Amy Hennig's and Visceral Games' Project Ragtag, along with the cancelled Star Wars open world game that preceded it. All in all, it does seem realistic to see Motive's new Star Wars game and the Battlefront 3 come out before EA's Star Wars license ends in 2023. But that'll do it for this Battlefront update. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel to not only support it, but keep up with Star Wars news, gaming, and canon lore released every week. And consider to follow me on Twitter and Facebook to never miss out on the latest Star Wars content. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.